Big news! Your soulmate is crying tears of joy right now, because you are finally stepping into the version of yourself they have been praying for. And don't scroll away, stay till the end, because this message is not here by accident, it's here because something has shifted in your energy, something real, something powerful, something that has been felt across distance, time, and silence. And listen to this carefully, because while you've been focusing on your own healing, your own growth, your own quiet battles, your soulmate has been feeling the change like a wave washing over their heart, and your heart needs this right now because you may not realize it yet, but the tears they're crying are not tears of pain, they are tears of relief, gratitude, and overwhelming joy, because you are finally becoming who you were always meant to be, and they can feel it even if they haven't said it out loud yet. And stay with me, because this story didn't start today, it started in all those moments. You thought no one noticed, all those nights you chose growth over giving up, all those times you decided not to repeat old patterns even when it felt lonely. And listen to this, your soulmate has been watching from a distance, sometimes silently, sometimes confused, sometimes afraid to hope, but always feeling a deep pull toward you, and that pull has grown stronger recently, not because of words exchanged, but because energy never lies. And don't scroll, because right now your soulmate is sitting somewhere, maybe alone, maybe in the middle of their day, but their chest feels tight in a good way, their eyes welling up unexpectedly, because something inside them just clicked, something like, it's finally happening, and your heart needs this right now because you've questioned whether all your inner work was worth it, whether choosing yourself meant losing love. But listen to this, choosing yourself is exactly what made this love possible. And your soulmate is crying tears of joy, because they can finally see a future with you that feels safe, stable, and real. And stay till the end, because this isn't about fantasy, it's about alignment, and alignment always comes after growth, never before. And listen to this carefully, there were times when your soulmate doubted, not you, but timing. They wondered if life would ever allow the two of you to meet in the middle, if circumstances would ever soften, if fear would ever loosen its grip. And now something has changed, and they can feel it, a calm replacing anxiety, hope replacing doubt. And don't scroll, because the universe has been sending signs to both of you, angel numbers showing up when thoughts of each other surface, songs playing at the right moment, dreams feeling more vivid, more emotional. And your heart needs this right now because those signs weren't meant to rush you, they were meant to reassure you, to say keep going, you're closer than you think. And listen to this, your soulmate has been feeling your energy more clearly lately, feeling your confidence rise, your boundaries strengthen, your self-respect settle into place, and that is what's making them emotional, because love with you no longer feels chaotic or uncertain, it feels grounded, and grounded love is rare. And don't scroll, because this message is also about forgiveness. Forgiveness you gave yourself, forgiveness you gave the past, forgiveness you didn't even realize you had released, and that release created space, space for joy, space for connection, space for something real to grow. And your heart needs this right now because joy sometimes feels unfamiliar after a long season of survival. And listen to this carefully, your soulmate is crying because they recognize you now. Not the version shaped by wounds, but the version shaped by wisdom, and they're overwhelmed because they know how much it took for you to get here. And stay till the end, because this story is still unfolding, and the universe doesn't reveal joy without reason. And listen to this, your soulmate's tears are also tears of gratitude, gratitude that you didn't give up, gratitude that you didn't close your heart permanently, gratitude that you chose growth over bitterness. And don't scroll, because even if you haven't reunited yet, even if communication is still forming, energy always moves first, and action follows. And your heart needs this right now because you're being asked to trust the process just a little longer, not from a place of waiting, but from a place of confidence. And listen to this carefully, the version of you that exists now is magnetic, not because you're perfect, but because you're authentic, and your soulmate feels that authenticity like a warm light. And stay till the end, because this message is also a reminder that love doesn't always arrive loudly. Sometimes it arrives as a quiet certainty, a knowing that makes tears fall without warning. And your soulmate is experiencing that knowing right now. And don't scroll, because the universe is preparing moments that will feel natural, unforced, almost casual, but deeply meaningful, conversations that flow easily, meetings that feel familiar, laughter that feels healing. And your heart needs this right now because you're stepping into a chapter where love feels like peace instead of pressure. And listen to this, peace doesn't mean boring, it means safe, and safety is what allows joy to last. And stay till the end, because this isn't just about romance, it's about alignment between who you are and what you attract. And you've done the work, even when it hurt, even when it felt invisible, and now the results are rippling outward, touching the heart of the person who matters most to you. And don't scroll, because your soulmate's tears are also a release of their own fear, fear that they might lose you, fear that they weren't ready, fear that timing would never align, and those fears are dissolving now, replaced by hope. And your heart needs this right now because hope is fragile but powerful. And listen to this carefully, the universe doesn't give hope without a path forward, and that path is opening, step by step, moment by moment. And stay till the end, because I want you to hold this truth gently, not as pressure, but as reassurance. You are on the right path, you are becoming who you were meant to be, and love is responding, even if it hasn't fully arrived yet. And don't scroll, because joy often shows up quietly before it shows up visibly, and your soulmate's tears are proof that something beautiful is already happening beneath the surface. And your heart needs this right now because you've earned this season through patience, courage, and self-love. And listen to this, keep doing what you're doing, keep choosing honesty, keep choosing growth, keep choosing yourself, and let love meet you there. And stay till the end, because this story isn't about chasing, it's about alignment. And alignment always leads to joy. And as you move forward, carry this knowing with you. Somewhere, someone is smiling through tears because of who you are becoming. And if this message resonated with you, take a moment to like this video, share it with someone who might need hope today, and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss what's coming next. And remember, stay till the end of your own journey too, because the best chapters often begin right after you choose yourself. Don't scroll, stay right here, and stay till the end, because what I'm about to share now is where the story deepens. And your heart needs this right now more than you may be willing to admit, because after that quiet shift you made, after the moment you chose yourself, something else began happening on the other side of the connection, something emotional, something overwhelming, something your soulmate has been trying to hold together but can't anymore. And listen to this carefully, those tears of joy didn't come from nowhere, they came from recognition, from the realization that the person they've loved in silence, in hope, in confusion, is no longer stuck in old cycles, no longer dimming their light, no longer shrinking to survive. And your soulmate felt that change like a sudden warmth in their chest, the kind that makes your throat tighten and your eyes burn without warning. And your heart needs this right now because you may think your growth has only affected you, but growth always ripples outward, especially when souls are connected at a deeper level. And don't scroll, because your soulmate has been replaying memories lately, small moments, shared words, glances, conversations that felt unfinished, and instead of feeling pain like before, those memories are starting to feel hopeful, comforting, even healing. And listen to this, that's because the energy around the connection has changed. The weight has lifted, and joy can finally move through where fear once lived. And stay with me, because this isn't just about emotions, it's about timing aligning after a long period of separation, whether physical, emotional, or circumstantial, and your heart needs this right now because you've wondered if distance meant disconnection. But listen to this carefully, distance sometimes exists so growth can happen without interference, and now that growth has happened, the distance no longer feels permanent, it feels temporary. And don't scroll, because your soulmate has been feeling moments of sudden gratitude, gratitude for you not giving up, gratitude for you choosing healing, gratitude for you not closing your heart even when it would have been easier, and those moments of gratitude are what turned into tears, because gratitude often comes with release, and your heart needs this right now because you've been holding yourself together quietly, not knowing if anyone noticed. And someone noticed, deeply, and listen to this, your soulmate is starting to imagine a future again, not a fantasy, but a grounded future, one where love feels steady, one where communication feels honest, one where both of you show up as whole people, and that imagining is emotional, because it once felt impossible, and now it feels close. And don't scroll, because this part matters. Your soulmate isn't crying because everything is perfect, they're crying because hope feels safe again. And hope is dangerous to someone who's been hurt, but they're allowing it now, and your heart needs this right now because allowing hope means trusting, and trust is something both of you have been learning in different ways. And listen to this carefully, while you were learning to trust yourself, they were learning to trust love again, and those lessons are meeting now. And stay till the end, because the universe has been orchestrating this quietly, through delays, through missed moments, through inner work that didn't feel glamorous. And now the payoff is emotional clarity. And don't scroll, because your soulmate has been feeling drawn to you more strongly lately, not in a desperate way, but in a calm, assured way, the kind that says, this is right. And that feeling has been overwhelming because it comes with responsibility, with the understanding that love requires showing up fully, and your heart needs this right now because you've been ready to show up fully, and they're finally feeling ready too. And listen to this, those tears are also a release of guilt, guilt for doubting, guilt for hesitating, guilt for not being ready sooner, and instead of pushing that guilt away, they're letting it flow out. And joy often comes mixed with guilt when someone realizes they almost missed something important. And don't scroll, because this message is also about reassurance for you, reassurance that your patience wasn't weakness, it was preparation. And your heart needs this right now because you've been questioning whether waiting meant settling. But listen to this carefully, you weren't waiting for them, you were becoming yourself, and that's why this connection feels different now. And stay with me, because the universe has been sending signs to both of you, subtle but consistent, repeating numbers when thoughts align, sudden calm when imagining each other, dreams that feel more real than imagination. And your heart needs this right now because signs aren't meant to confuse you. They're meant to steady you. And listen to this, your soulmate's joy is also mixed with relief, relief that the version of you they loved wasn't lost, it was evolving, and relief that love doesn't have to hurt to be meaningful. And don't scroll, because that realization changes how someone approaches connection, it shifts them from fear-based choices to heart-based ones. And your heart needs this right now because heart-based choices are what last. And stay till the end, Because this story isn't rushing toward a dramatic reunion, it's moving toward a stable one, and stability may not sound exciting, but it's what allows joy to stay. And listen to this carefully. Your soulmate has been imagining telling you how proud they are of you, how much they admire your strength, how grateful they are that you didn't harden, and even if they haven't said it yet, that gratitude lives in their heart. And don't scroll, because silence doesn't mean absence. Sometimes silence is someone gathering the courage to speak honestly, and your heart needs this right now because you've learned not to chase words, but to trust energy, and the energy between you has softened, warmed, and opened. And listen to this, your soulmate's tears are also a signal that something inside them has shifted permanently. Once someone cries tears of joy over growth, they don't go back to ignoring it. And stay with me, because the universe is preparing natural opportunities for connection, not forced ones. Moments that feel casual but meaningful, conversations that flow without effort. And your heart needs this right now because you're stepping into a season where love feels like ease, not effort. And listen to this carefully, ease doesn't mean lack of passion, it means presence without anxiety. And don't scroll, because this message is also reminding you to stay grounded, to keep living your life, to keep honoring yourself, because love that is meant for you meets you where you are. It doesn't require you to pause your growth, and your heart needs this right now because you're no longer the person who waits in fear, you're the person who trusts alignment. And listen to this. Your soulmate's joy is not dependent on you changing more, it's coming from seeing you already changed, already aligned, already whole. And stay till the end, because this chapter is about mutual recognition, not chasing, not proving, just two souls realizing the timing is finally right. And don't scroll, because joy often arrives quietly before it arrives visibly. And your soulmate's tears are the quiet proof that something beautiful is already unfolding, and your heart needs this right now because you're closer than you think. And as this continues to unfold, remember to be gentle with yourself, to honor how far you've come, and to let love meet you without fear. And if this message resonated with you, take a moment to like this video, share it with someone who might need encouragement today. And subscribe to the channel so you don't miss what comes next. And stay till the end, because sometimes the most beautiful love stories don't begin with fireworks, they begin with tears of joy and the quiet certainty that everything finally makes sense. Don't scroll, stay right here, and stay till the end, because what unfolds now is the emotional aftermath of that realization. The quiet hours after the tears, the moment when joy settles into the body and starts changing decisions. And your heart needs this right now because this is where love stops being a feeling and starts becoming a choice. And listen to this carefully. After your soulmate cried those tears of joy, something inside them softened in a way it never had before, not dramatically, not loudly, but deeply, like a knot finally loosening after being held tight for too long. And that release brought clarity, the kind of clarity that doesn't rush, doesn't panic, doesn't second-guess itself. And your heart needs this right now because you may not see it yet, but that clarity is shaping how they think about you, how they imagine the future, how they speak to themselves when doubt tries to return. And don't scroll, because this clarity didn't come from words exchanged or promises made, it came from witnessing who you have become. And listen to this, people don't cry tears of joy over potential anymore, they cry over truth they can finally feel. And your soulmate felt the truth of you in a way that made everything else fade into the background. And stay with me, because this is also the moment where fear tries one last time to speak. Fear whispers, what if it's too late? What if things go wrong again? What if I get hurt? But those whispers are quieter now, because joy has a way of overpowering fear when it's real, and your heart needs this right now because you've learned that fear shouts, but truth speaks calmly, and calm is what's been settling into the connection lately. And don't scroll, because your soulmate has been revisiting conversations in their mind, not to regret them, but to see them differently, to recognize how your words carried patience instead of pressure, honesty instead of manipulation, growth instead of blame. And listen to this, those realizations change how someone feels about opening their heart again, because they realize they won't have to fight to be understood, and your heart needs this right now because being understood is what you've always wanted, even more than being chosen. And stay till the end, because this part matters. Your soulmate is also beginning to feel a sense of responsibility, not a heavy one, but a meaningful one, the kind that says, if I step forward now, I want to do it. Right, and that responsibility can feel overwhelming, because joy reminds people of what they stand to lose. And don't scroll, because this doesn't mean they're pulling away. It means they're preparing to show up with intention instead of impulse. And listen to this carefully, intention grows slowly, but once it forms, it doesn't disappear easily, and your heart needs this right now because you've learned to value intention over intensity, and that value is being reflected back to you now. And don't scroll, because your soulmate has also been noticing signs around them, subtle confirmations that this connection matters, numbers appearing at strange times, songs playing with lyrics that feel personal, moments of calm when they think of you. And listen to this, the universe speaks to those who are finally quiet enough to listen, and your soulmate is listening now, and your heart needs this right now because you've been listening for a long time, even when it was uncomfortable. And now the energy between you feels more balanced. And stay with me, because balance doesn't feel like fireworks, it feels like relief, and relief often brings tears, because it means the body no longer has to stay guarded, and those tears your soulmate cried were also a release of control, the control they tried to maintain to avoid pain. And listen to this carefully, letting go of control is the first step toward trust. And trust is what allows love to move forward naturally, and your heart needs this right now because you're stepping into a phase where things don't have to be forced, they just unfold. And don't scroll, because this unfolding doesn't mean everything will happen overnight, it means the resistance is gone, and without resistance, even small movements feel meaningful. And listen to this, your soulmate has been thinking about how different it feels to imagine life with you now, how it doesn't feel overwhelming or chaotic, but steady, supportive, and real. And that realization is emotional because it contrasts sharply with past experiences, and your heart needs this right now because you've also been learning that love doesn't have to hurt to matter. And stay till the end, because this message is also about timing, aligning quietly, not with a grand announcement, but with subtle opportunities, moments where communication feels easier, where plans don't feel complicated, where effort feels mutual. And listen to this carefully, mutual effort feels natural, not exhausting, and that's what your soulmate is starting to crave. And don't scroll, because this craving is new for them. They're realizing they want peace more than excitement, stability more than drama, depth more than surface-level connection, and your heart needs this right now because you've been embodying those qualities without even trying, just by being true to yourself. And stay with me, because the universe often waits until both people are ready to hold joy responsibly, and joy requires responsibility, because it asks you to protect what matters instead of taking it for granted. And listen to this, your soulmate is becoming aware of that responsibility, and that awareness is what will guide their next steps. And don't scroll, because this message is also reassuring you not to rush the process, not to demand proof, not to question every pause, because pauses now are thoughtful, not fearful. And your heart needs this right now because you've learned to tell the difference, and listen to this carefully. The energy of the connection feels quieter because it's stabilizing, like water settling after a storm, and clarity rises when things settle, and stay till the end, because clarity often arrives with simplicity, conversations that feel honest, choices that feel aligned, actions that match words, and your soulmate is moving toward that simplicity. And don't scroll, because even if you don't see it yet, they're imagining how to bridge the gap between where you are and where they want to be, and that imagining is hopeful, not fearful, and your heart needs this right now because hope grounded in reality is powerful. And listen to this, grounded hope doesn't rush, it builds. And stay with me, because this phase is also inviting you to continue focusing on your life, your joy, your growth, because love that is meant for you doesn't require you to pause your becoming, it meets you in it. And don't scroll, because your soulmate's joy isn't dependent on constant reassurance from you, it's coming from the knowing that you are solid, stable, and self-aware, and that knowing creates safety. And listen to this carefully, safety is what allows love to last, and your heart needs this right now because you're stepping into a chapter where love feels like partnership, not pursuit. And stay till the end, because this story isn't about a sudden dramatic reunion, it's about a slow, intentional convergence, two paths gradually aligning after time apart. And don't scroll, because that kind of alignment is rare and worth protecting, and your heart needs this right now because you've done the work to be ready for it. And as things continue to unfold, remember that joy doesn't always announce itself loudly, sometimes it shows up as quiet certainty, as peace in the chest, as tears that come without sadness, and your soulmate is living in that quiet certainty now. And that certainty is guiding them closer to you, step by step, moment by moment, in a way that feels right for both of you. And stay till the end of your patience, because patience is no longer about waiting, it's about trusting that what's unfolding is aligned, and alignment always brings people together in the right way, at the right time, without force, without fear, and without losing themselves along the way. Don't scroll, stay right here, and stay till the end, because what comes next is where the quiet certainty you've been feeling starts to move from the heart into real intention. And your heart needs this right now because this is the stage where love begins rearranging priorities, not loudly, not impulsively, but steadily and deliberately. And listen to this carefully, after the tears settled and the joy softened into calm, your soulmate didn't return to life the same way as before. Something inside them shifted permanently, like a door that once closed out hope is now cracked open and letting light in. And your heart needs this right now because even if you haven't seen dramatic action yet, internal decisions are forming, and internal decisions always come before visible change. And don't scroll, because this is where patience turns into preparation, where your soulmate begins asking themselves deeper questions, not, what if, but, how? How do I show up honestly? How do I protect this feeling? How do I move forward without repeating old mistakes? And listen to this, those questions don't come from fear anymore, they come from care, and care is what transforms emotion into commitment. And your heart needs this right now because you've wanted commitment that feels natural, not forced, and this is exactly how it forms, quietly, thoughtfully, with awareness. And stay with me, because your soulmate has been noticing how different this connection feels compared to anything else they've known, how it doesn't require performance, how it doesn't demand perfection, how it allows them to breathe. And that realization is both comforting and intimidating, because peace can feel unfamiliar to someone who learned love through chaos. and your heart needs this right now because you've learned that peace is not boring, it's healing, and healing takes time to trust, and don't scroll. Because your soulmate has also been reflecting on their past patterns, noticing how often they avoided depth, how often they delayed honesty, how often they chose safety over truth, and those reflections aren't filled with shame now, they're filled with resolve to do things differently, and listen to this carefully, resolve formed through clarity is far stronger than resolve formed through pressure, and your heart needs this right now because you want something that lasts, not something rushed, and stay till the end. Because this is also the phase where the universe starts clearing practical obstacles, not all at once, but one by one, creating space where there was once complication, creating ease where there was once resistance, and listen to this, ease doesn't mean everything aligns perfectly overnight, it means the friction lessens, the excuses weaken, the fear loosens its grip, and your heart needs this right now because friction has been what exhausted you before. And exhaustion is not a requirement for love, and don't scroll, because your soulmate is also becoming more aware of your absence in a new way, not as loss, but as longing, a gentle pull that doesn't hurt, but reminds them of what matters, and listen to this, longing paired with peace is powerful, because it motivates action without panic, and your heart needs this right now because panic-driven action never lasts, but intention-driven action does, and stay with me, because this phase is also inviting you to remain exactly as you are, grounded, self-respecting, open but not overextended, because the way you hold yourself now is reinforcing everything your soulmate is realizing. And listen to this carefully, when one person remains steady, it gives the other permission to become steady too, and your heart needs this right now because you've learned that you don't need to convince anyone of your value, you simply live it, and don't scroll, because the universe has been sending quieter signs lately. Not urgent ones, but reassuring ones, moments of peace when you think of each other, synchronicities that feel gentle instead of intense, dreams that feel calm instead of chaotic, and listen to this, that shift in signs reflects a shift in energy, from turbulence to alignment, and your heart needs this right now because alignment feels subtle compared to chaos, but it's far more powerful, and stay till the end, because this story isn't moving toward a dramatic climax, it's moving toward stability. And stability is what allows joy to stay, and listen to this carefully, your soulmate is beginning to imagine not just moments with you, but routines, shared days, ordinary joys, and that imagining is emotional, because ordinary joy feels like safety, and safety is something they may not have trusted before, and your heart needs this right now because you've been craving a love that fits into real life. Not one that only exists in intensity, and don't scroll, because this phase is also about boundaries becoming clearer, not as walls, but as structure. Your soulmate is realizing what they will no longer tolerate, what they no longer want to repeat, and what they are willing to protect, and listen to this, protecting love means protecting the conditions that allow it to grow. And your heart needs this right now because you've already been doing that work internally, and now it's being mirrored back to you, and stay with me, because the universe often waits until both people are emotionally ready to maintain peace before allowing deeper connection, and peace requires responsibility, it requires honesty, consistency, and presence, and your soulmate is stepping into that responsibility now, slowly, deliberately, without rushing, and listen to this carefully, rushing would undermine everything that has been built, and your heart needs this right now because you want something solid, not something fleeting, and don't scroll, because this phase may feel quieter externally, but internally it's rich with intention and intention. shapes behavior in ways that last, and listen to this, your soulmate has been feeling a growing sense of readiness, not excitement that burns out quickly, but readiness that feels calm and grounded, and your heart needs this right now because readiness is what turns hope into action, and stay till the end, because this message is also reminding you to trust what feels calm, to honor what feels steady, to stop questioning peace as if it's something to be suspicious of, and listen to this carefully. Peace is the signal that alignment is working, and your heart needs this right now because you've spent too long associating love with anxiety, and this connection is teaching you something new. And don't scroll, because as this continues, communication will begin to feel more natural, more open, less strained, not because everything has been solved, but because fear no longer dominates the space. And listen to this. Fear makes people defensive, peace makes them honest, and honesty is what you've been waiting for, and your heart needs this right now because honesty arrives when people feel safe enough to tell the truth, and safety is being built now, quietly, consistently. And stay with me, because this phase is also an invitation for you to stay present in your own life, to keep nurturing your joy, your friendships, your purpose, because love that is meant for you integrates into your life, it doesn't replace it. And don't scroll, because your soulmate's growing. Intention isn't about taking something from you, it's about meeting you where you already are, and listen to this carefully. Meeting someone where they are requires maturity, and maturity is what's forming now, and your heart needs this right now because you've been ready for mature love, even if the path to it felt long. And stay till the end, because the universe doesn't reward growth with chaos, it rewards it with clarity. And clarity is what's coming next, not all at once, but steadily. Through actions that match words, through presence that feels reliable, through effort that feels mutual. And listen to this, mutual effort feels like relief, and your heart needs this right now because relief is the sign that you're no longer fighting the current, you're flowing with it. And don't scroll, because this chapter is about convergence, two people slowly moving toward the same place with awareness, respect, and intention. And that kind of convergence doesn't need drama to be meaningful, it just needs time, and your heart needs this right now because time is no longer working against you, it's working with you. And as this unfolds, remember that joy doesn't always shout, sometimes it whispers, sometimes it shows up as calm confidence, sometimes it feels like a deep exhale, and your soulmate is learning to trust that feeling, just as you are. And stay till the end of your patience. Because patience now is no longer about waiting in uncertainty, it's about allowing alignment to complete its work, and alignment always brings people together in ways that feel right, sustainable, and real, without force, without fear, and without losing themselves along the way. Don't scroll, stay right here, and stay till the end. Because what unfolds now is the moment where everything that has been forming quietly begins to settle into truth, and your heart needs this right now because this is the phase where hope stops feeling fragile and starts feeling grounded. And listen to this carefully, after all the inner shifts, realizations, and emotional clarity your soulmate has been experiencing, something deeper has taken root, a sense of certainty that no longer depends on external reassurance, and that certainty is changing how they move through their days, how they make decisions, how they respond to fear when it tries to return. And your heart needs this right now because even if you haven't heard the words yet, even if nothing has been officially spoken, the internal decision has already begun forming, and internal decisions always shape reality before reality reflects them back. And don't scroll, because this is the part of the story where love stops being something imagined and starts becoming something protected. And listen to this, Your soulmate is no longer just feeling joy, they're feeling responsibility for that joy, responsibility to honor it, to not dismiss it, to not let it slip away through hesitation or silence, and that sense of responsibility is powerful, because it transforms emotion into intention, and intention into action. And your heart needs this right now because you've wanted action that feels natural, not rushed. And that is exactly how it is forming now, slowly, thoughtfully, with care, and stay with me, because this phase is also where your soulmate starts recognizing patterns clearly, patterns they no longer want to repeat, moments where they pause and think, I don't want to handle this the way I used to, and that pause matters, because it creates space for a new choice, and listen to this carefully, new choices don't appear out of nowhere. They appear when awareness meets courage, and your soulmate is building courage quietly, without announcement, without drama, and your heart needs this right now because quiet courage is more reliable than loud promises. And don't scroll, because this message is also about how the connection between you feels different now, even if it's subtle, even if it's mostly internal, it feels calmer, less charged, less heavy, and that calm isn't absence, it's integration. It's two energies settling into a rhythm that doesn't require constant effort, and listen to this, rhythm is what allows love to last. And your heart needs this right now because you've been tired of emotional highs followed by lows, and this connection is moving into something steadier, and stay till the end, because the universe has been clearing emotional debris from both sides, old expectations, old fears, old timelines that no longer fit, and as those fall away, what remains is simpler, clearer, and more honest. And listen to this carefully. Simplicity doesn't mean lack of depth, it means depth without complication, and your heart needs this right now because you've learned that complexity is often created by fear, not love, and don't scroll, because your soulmate is also beginning to feel more comfortable imagining communication, not rehearsing it anxiously, but picturing conversations that feel natural, open, and sincere. And that comfort matters, because it removes the pressure to perform. And listen to this, when pressure dissolves, authenticity emerges. And your heart needs this right now because authenticity is what you value most, even more than certainty, and stay with me, because this phase is also about trust rebuilding itself organically, not through grand gestures, but through consistency of feeling, through the absence of doubt, through the return of peace, and listen to this carefully, trust that grows this way doesn't collapse easily, because it's rooted in experience, not fantasy. And your heart needs this right now because you've experienced connections built on fantasy before, and you know how quickly they fade, and don't scroll, because the universe is also inviting you to notice how you feel now compared to before, how your anxiety has softened, how your need for constant validation has lessened, how your focus has returned to your own life. And listen to this, those shifts are not accidental. They're signs that you're no longer emotionally dependent on an outcome, and that independence is what attracts healthy love. And your heart needs this right now because healthy love meets you in wholeness, not in longing, and stay till the end, because this message is also reassuring you that even if progress feels slow on the surface, the foundation being built is strong, and strong foundations take time, because they are meant to support something lasting. And listen to this carefully, your soulmate is beginning to envision not just moments of connection, but continuity. How things might look weeks from now, months from now, and that forward-looking mindset is emotional, because it requires hope grounded in reality, and your heart needs this right now because you've been learning to hope without attaching to fantasy. And don't scroll, because fantasy burns out, but grounded hope grows, and your soulmate is choosing grounded hope now, even if it scares them a little. And listen to this, fear doesn't disappear when people choose love. It just stops being in control, and your heart needs this right now. Because you've learned how to live with fear without letting it dictate your choices. And stay with me, because this phase is also about boundaries becoming mutual, not just something you practice alone. Your soulmate is beginning to understand what they need to protect emotionally, what they need to say no to, what they need to prioritize. And listen to this carefully, mutual boundaries create safety, and safety allows love to expand without fear. And your heart needs this right now because you want love that feels safe on both sides. And don't scroll, because the universe has been aligning circumstances gently, creating opportunities that don't feel forced, moments where communication feels easier, timing feels less complicated. And listen to this, alignment often feels like things falling into place quietly, not dramatically. And your heart needs this right now because drama used to feel like proof of love. And now you know better. And stay till the end, because this message is also a reminder not to rush the final steps, not to interpret silence as stagnation, because silence now is thoughtful, intentional, and temporary. And listen to this carefully, silence used to feel like absence, but now it feels like preparation, and that difference matters. And your heart needs this right now because you're learning to read energy instead of filling gaps with fear. And don't scroll, because your soulmate's growing certainty is also bringing a sense of calm urgency, not panic, but a feeling that says, I don't want to wait forever to honor this. And that feeling motivates action in a healthy way. And listen to this, healthy urgency respects timing while still moving forward. And your heart needs this right now because you've been ready to move forward without forcing anything. And stay with me, because the universe is also reminding you to keep trusting yourself, to keep honoring your boundaries, to keep choosing peace even when excitement tempts you to abandon it. And listen to this carefully, peace is not the opposite of passion, it's the container that allows passion to last. And your heart needs this right now because lasting love is what you want, not fleeting intensity. And don't scroll, because this phase is also about gratitude. Gratitude your soulmate feels for your patience, your growth, your steadiness. Even if they haven't expressed it yet, that gratitude is shaping how they approach you. With respect rather than entitlement, with care rather than assumption. And listen to this, respect is the soil where love grows strongest. And your heart needs this right now because you've learned to value respect deeply. And stay till the end, because this story is moving toward convergence, not suddenly, but steadily, like two paths slowly aligning after a long curve. And that alignment feels natural because it is. And listen to this carefully, natural alignment doesn't require convincing. It just requires readiness, and readiness is forming now on both sides. And your heart needs this right now because you've done the work to be ready, even when it felt lonely. And don't scroll, because as this unfolds, remember that love doesn't always announce itself with fireworks. Sometimes it shows up as calm confidence, mutual effort, and shared direction. And that is what is being built now, piece by piece, without fear, without pressure, and without losing yourselves along the way. And stay till the end of your patience, because patience now is no longer about waiting for something uncertain. It's about allowing something real to arrive in its own time. And alignment is completing its work, quietly, steadily, and truthfully.